Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is your host, June Archer. This is the Winner Circle Motivate You. And I have an amazing guest today. Always love speaking to people who are doing some amazing work and changing lives in their communities and in and around what it is that they do. Please welcome Gerria Coffee, aka Miss Coffee. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you for having me. I'm all right.
So I am excited to talk to you because I took a look at a lot of the things that you're doing. You are a doula, and I want people who don't know what that is, especially men, because we want to educate those who don't know a lot about what you do. But you are a doula, and you are the founder of Genesis Birth Services. Take us from the top. What is a doula, and what do they do?
That's a good question. I get that question a lot. So basically, what a doula is I guess you can liken it to a coach to make it more familiar for the fellas that are listening. And so what this doula is like a guide, a coach or a guide that guides parents, the birthing parent or them and their partner through the pregnancy experience, provides information, provides emotional support. Childbirth education classes sometimes come along with that. And they're really preparing you for what to expect and how to advocate for yourself through pregnancy and childbirth, especially since um, the statistics in the United States are really bad when it comes to maternal mortality. And so it really helps to have a doula present to be able to help guide people and educate them on what their options are, what their rights are in pregnancy and childbirth. Then what the doula does is actually is present for the birth in the labor and delivery room, or even if it's a C-section, they're there and they're helping that parent maneuver their body, work the baby down, and to really cope with contractions and just some of the emotional transitions that a person goes through when they're really in that, when the rubber meets the road and they're really in that intense part of labor. And then if there's a partner there, they're really supporting uh, the communication, I guess you could say, between the birthing parent and the partner or the supportive other that's there in that space too, to help them navigate that hospital setting, or even if it's home birth, that home birth setting, keep them comfortable. I mean, it could be something as simple as providing sips of water,
Mm.
making sure that the mother is hydrated, comfortable, and feels supported, and then
Now,
after that,
I want to jump in here.
yeah.
Is there a difference? And if there is, what might be the differences or similarities with a doula versus a midwife?
That is a good question. I've heard that come up in a lot of other conversations too. So the main difference is that a doula is not clinical. A doula isn't intentionally going to a birth to actually catch the baby or deliver the baby. That is out of scope for what a doula does. But what a midwife does is provides that clinical support. So that's taking vitals, um, actually delivering the baby, doing newborn exams. The doula doesn't do that. The doula is emotional support, physical support, educational support, and more like advocacy support.
Now, how
Yeah.
important is that to have a doula? Yeah, you may have a midwife, but when you have a doula, uh, for I want to target women of color specifically,
Okay.
who their medical attention is a lot different. Their medical problems as to, and I don't want to say problems. I want people to take that lightly. Don't hang me for that. But the things that come along with childbirth for women of color, those concerns are a little bit different. Preeclampsia, and all these other things.
Yeah.
For a doula, how important is it to have that support from a mental health perspective for women of
Yeah.
color?
Oh my gosh, that is such an amazing question. We can really go back to even before a black woman becomes pregnant.
Mm.
And what that doula does is addresses the whole person. And so, me being a black woman, I understand that not only as a black woman, but as a doula and as a person that works in this profession, that our experiences are even different prior to childbirth, prior to conception or anything. Just the systems that we live in is it affects us differently, for lack of a better expression, it's oppressive. So with the statistics with black women being 243% more likely to die in pregnancy related and childbirth related complications. which is about 3.5 times more than, say, white mothers. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
That is a big number. That's a giant disparity. And so recognizing that, a doula comes in, and that emotional support, it lowers stress. And so when we're talking about mental health, let's think about all of the stress. Let's think about the past 5 years, right? All of the stress that we've endured, all of the disrest that we've witnessed, all of the things that we've kind of absorbed, not just medically, but just kind of from a societal standpoint, that increases stress. And we know stress can lead to a whole bunch of other health problems and even affect the baby. So having that doula there to help you work through some of the emotional challenges, support you, answer your questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question with a doula,
Right.
So whatever you're going through, call your doula. Hey, I was thinking about this, or I was on the internet. You can say, girl, stay off the internet, or my friend, stay off the internet and relax, rest your brain. Be careful what you're feeding your body right now, because what you're feeding your body, also you're feeding your baby. You know, Mental health is a really big thing, even with like postpartum depression. That doula, starting out with having that supportive system in pregnancy, it carries over into improved childbirth experience, which lessens the chances of experiencing postpartum depression. So it's a big thing.
So for for that, in terms of postpartum depression,
Mm-hmm.
are there any statistics that we need to be aware of in terms of women of color versus others? Is it much higher? Is it the same? If it is the same, because I don't want to exclude anyone, because
Sure.
I'm certain there are non people of color who have doulas. But what is the importance of understanding why having that mental health and mental fitness perspective as it relates to postpartum is important?
Sure. I think even just as a culture, I mean, I guess first I'll address the population overall. There are so many hormonal changes that happen after giving birth, regardless of the outcome. Not all births result in live babies. So, what that does to a person emotionally, all the chemical changes that happen to a body, if a person is already dealing with depression, then that increases their likelihood of experiencing postpartum depression or
Right.
postpartum mood and anxiety disorders. And so that's just for everyone in general, because a lot of us have, things that we're trying to overcome and things that we're trying to heal from. I think it's nice that we're in a time right now that, especially for Black and Brown people, that seeing therapists and mental health and just being intentional with caring for our mental health is becoming very popular. And so, what that doula can do is, if it says somebody that hasn't really considered a therapist, but they notice signs of depression or change in behaviors, you say, "Hey, have you considered a therapist?" You may recommend them to resource and say, "Here's a few people, that you can call, or if you like, we can sit together and call these people together." And it's really a nice process, because when you have a baby, you're not always thinking about yourself, right? You're
Right.
thinking about, how can I keep this baby comfortable? How can I keep the baby from crying? Am I doing this right? When you add all of those natural questions that come along with having a new baby, with all the hormonal changes, you need that person. You need that person to say, "Hey, how are you feeling? What's happening today? What has it been like for the past 24 hours?" And sometimes a person will say, "I've been crying a lot." And so they may say, "Okay, well, let's go through this questionnaire and see if we can." It's called an Edinburgh scale. And depending on the score, you can determine whether or not it's an emergency. And that's some of the things that a doula does in postpartum, where you can say, "Hey, we need to call someone." And it's
Oh,
important. We're, like I said, especially with COVID right now.
yeah. Yeah, I want to ask you this, and this is from a selfish perspective. Yes, the doula is there for the birthing mom, and you talk about the parents, but how pivotal is it for the man, the father, to kind of
Mm,
have that relationship too? Because when you talk about childbirthing and you talk about miscarriages or stillborns, I
yes.
think historically we side with the woman. Obviously, that is the obvious piece,
Right.
but there's so many men that are overlooked, overshadowed,
Yeah.
because it is their child as well.
Yeah.
How can the doula allow men to want to feel like they're part of the equation, not feel like you're the outsider because you weren't carrying the baby. So you
Yes.
don't really understand. And because there is a bigger connection as a mom, but
Sure.
Miss Coffee, there is a connection as a dad.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I can tell you what I do. Um, Fatherhood engagement is really important to me. Um, I understand personally how impactful a father can be in a child's development and just in the pregnancy experience, both from my experiences and then from my own father. And so I'm able to say, okay, hey, dad, what are you feeling right now? What are some of your questions? What are some of your fears? And I make it known from the beginning, I'm not here to replace you. I recognize that I had a session once with a bunch of fathers who were kind of new fathers in the situation. I said, so what were some of your experiences in pregnancy? They're nervous, they're afraid. Someone
Scared.
they love very much is going through something that they can't stop and they feel somewhat accountable for the discomfort. And the last thing they want to feel like is they're in the way. And so when I'm dealing with um, mother and father relationships, I say, I'm not here to replace you. I'm here to support you and her, or support you to support her. There's things that a male partner or a father can do for that birthing mother that I can't do. His touch will mean more than my touch. And so there's occasions where I'll say, hey, do you want to get in there? Physical touch is very comforting when there are contractions or discomfort. And so just being there and engaging both people, having that conversation, understanding everybody's reservations, everybody's fears, answering all the questions, and making sure that father feels secure. Sometimes it's the first baby that this man has ever held or
Right.
ever been that close to. And so knowing, hey, you can hold that baby, you're not going to break that baby. Hold that baby close. Just because this mother is, let's say, breastfeeding or something like that, that doesn't mean that you can't bond. You pick that baby up and you bring the baby to the mom, or you hold that baby while mommy's getting ready, you know? And same for any other partner, in this parenting situation. You can get involved. And I think it's so important to strengthen that bond early on and make sure that everybody feels secure in their role in that family setting, because it reduces stress. When you don't have stress, you don't have arguing. When you don't have arguing, you don't have stress. It's a hamster wheel.
Right. Right.
So,
And to make them feel comfortable is great. I know for me, kangaroo care was very, very exciting. It was fun. It allows you to have that connection. I want to move to something that has really warmed my heart that you're doing. You started a program where you are in the prison system helping women in the childbirthing process who are incarcerated. Tell me about it. What was the inspiration behind it?
oh my gosh, I'm so proud. Like, I hope I don't get emotional while I'm talking. I'm so proud of this program. I remember a few years ago, I was driving through the area and I recognized that there were women's prisons not far from my office. And I said, man, I have to get in there. There are people in there and they are pregnant and I'm here. There's no reason why I can't. How do I get in there? There's something to be saying, there's something to be said for asking for what you want.
Right.
And so,
Right.
and so it ended up happening. I got a phone call and they said, hey, Miss Coffee, are you available? We would like to meet you at the prison.
Wow.
I said, what?
Wow.
I said, yes, I'm available. They said, when? When do you want me there? Can you be there tomorrow? What do you say? I said, yes, of course. So I go there and we toured the facility. We had a meeting with some of the moms who were pregnant. Some were pretty far along. Some had just given birth. One mom in particular was on her way to going home that day. And everybody was able to share their experiences, their fears. I spoke with them, and the doulaing began right there in that auditorium space where I'm saying, hey,
Wow.
listen, this starts with you. What do you need? Because I want to help. And there were so many other people there, like the Department of Corrections, the Secretary of State, a state representative. All these people were there. And what I didn't realize was that they were really focusing on what I could offer, and how they could get behind making this possible. So the partnership was announced on February 14th during Black History Month. So I was really proud of that.
Nice,
You
nice.
know, I've supported 2 births already, um, and there's a long list of people who are signing up. Um, and just trying to make sure we keep it funded. But it's a beautiful thing, and I think one of the most exciting things is seeing that these mothers or these folks who these individuals who are pregnant or postpartum, they see how genuine I am and really wanting to be there for them, support them, and they trust me. And if you know how it is building trust, especially with people who have hard backgrounds or in a hard experience. Trust is something very hard to gain,
Yes.
you know. But when I'm doing the visits with them or we're on the phone, they're like, "Coffee, you're gonna make me cry." And I'm like, "Don't have me, don't be up in there telling people I got you crying." Some of them want to be doulas now, you
That's
know.
amazing. That's amazing. So how many, so you started with this one facility.
Mhm.
What is the plan? What is the plan from here?
I have a big plan for this. After we, go through this proof of concept at this first facility, SCI Muncie in Pennsylvania, we plan to expand to Cambridge Springs, which also houses women or femmes. And from there, after this proof of concept, I'm ready to take it national. I have partners that are waiting for the green light and just for the data to say, okay, this is what we did, this is the process, this was the impact, and they're ready. Like we've had the conversations already where they say, okay, we're going to take it national. So the pilot is going to go through until not the beginning of next year. So like from January to January, the pilot will go, because it helps me to gauge the needs of people who have given birth and follow them into postpartum and support them there. And then there are people who are just due further out in the year. And I just want to make sure that I get supporting to everybody who actually expressed interest initially. So it's the plan is for it to make it big.
I'm excited for you. What can we, those who are watching and listening, do to help? And where can we follow you? Is there uh, a way to contact you? How can we
Yes.
support?
Yes. Um, I don't want to be shy about it. The first way I could use support is, people who are interested in, funding the program, making sure that we keep this sustainable, keep the wind beneath this so that it can keep going. There are so many people that know about this and are excited about it now. I wouldn't want this to die out. The secondly, people can look up my organization, Genesis Birth Services, at www.genesisbirth.org. And that's my company where the services are provided. Or you can learn more about me at gerriacoffee.com. I'm on Instagram, the real Ms. Coffee with a Z in the Ms. Um, and genesisbirth.org. And then I have a radio station where I kind of share all of this information too, which is Spilt Milk Radio, which is an urban AC formatted radio station that I'm really proud of as well.
Well, I am so excited to have met you. I promise you, we're going to do something together soon. Through this Women's History Month, I'm going to be talking about women's health, and I would love to invite you back for a live show over the next couple of weeks to talk about this perspective on a panel as we tackle a lot of different things as it relates to women's health. So, Miss Coffee, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I appreciate you. We're going to support. I have a children's book that I'm going to send to you, and hopefully, maybe that's something we could give to women as part of a care package. And
Yes.
there's got to be something that we could do. Money is great, but sometimes that little added touch and that touch of love
Yeah.
goes just as far as the money does. And sometimes that's what these women need in these situations. So thank you so much. We
Thank
love
you.
you. We appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, please support. The website is here. Um, Contact her, support. If you have $5 in your pocket, if you have $50 in your pocket, if you have $500 in your pocket, if you have access to $5,000 in your pocket, or any organization, please look her up, follow her. We have to get behind what it is she's doing. It's something amazing, and I can only imagine how bigger it's going to get. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like it, love it, share it, and do me a favor. I always end with Tell somebody you love them. It may be the last time you have the opportunity to do so. Miss Coffee, thank you once again.
Thank you.
Once again, we love you. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless y'all. Peace.
Thank you.